Okay. Archie Luxury Channel, we're giving advice to our viewers for achieving financial success. We've gone through my balance sheet.
Yeah.
You've pointed out a few things. Let's have a look here. Credit cards, car payments, personal loans. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What's the answer? Why is that? Why? Life is hard.
Well, if you had $1 million in the bank, you did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with credit card payments, personal loan payments, and whatever. If you're living within your means, not a problem. But if you're not able to cope, well, you're actually living beyond your means. You're basically you're not earning enough money, I suppose, in your case. But if you are earning enough money, well, you're spending too much on things that you shouldn't be spending on, perhaps. Drinking, womanizing.
Credit cards, car pay. Everyone needs a car, but they need a car. Everyone gets a car, and it's silly to use cash to buy a car because you not get the tax benefits from the car. Credit cards, you get the points. You get the points, and personal loans that just covers a bit of a shortfall.
Well, let's look at the credit cards and your points. How many points are you getting?
Yeah.
The points are not worth much anyway. You spend $10,000 and you get $10 off, or $10 a bottle of wine. The car, well, you need a car. Of course you need a car. I think you need a reliable car, a car that works, so you don't have to be pushing it at the lights. It doesn't break down at the lights and you're not pushing it. But at the same time, I mean, if you a good, reliable car with a minimum borrowing is ideal. Ideally, you pay cash for your car and don't borrow anything. Because then you got no problem. It's paid off.
So tell me this: what do you say to people? Someone comes in, they got a lot of credit card debt, they got car payments, they got a personal loans. What do you say to them? What do you say to them? They say, "Help me, I'm fucking sinking." What do you say to them?
Well, it's read my book. Here's your. Maybe you should buy my book and work through the plan. But I think. What do I say to them? Well, I look at their income. I look at their spending. Do a budget. Write all their income down. Where they're spending it, and then you need to stop spending. You need to either earn more, which means a bit of overtime, or a second job, or a better job. That's on the income side. On the spending side, well, look at each item of expenditure and see what you can cut back on. See what can the problems be. One, poor job. You got low income. So if you've got a poor job with low income, you either go for a better job, or if you can't get a better job, well, do some study and then get a better job. You can't just sort of sit on your bum and say, "Oh, I'm not earning enough." Well, that's your fault if you're not earning enough. If you haven't got any skills and nobody wants you, well, you'll be there for the rest of your life. You could be in a situation where you are earning reasonable good money and your wife is spending like she just spends.
Let's take a quick look at that $10,000
mirror that she spent there. Yeah, she fortunately
beautiful.
She left it behind.
Would you take $3,000 for it?
No, it has to stay there. She was going to take it, and I said to her, "Well, you can take it, but you got to fix the wall because it's attached to the wall. It could damage the wall, so you got to paint the whole wall." And she said, "Well, you can have it then." And it's a very nice mirror, but that's. Can
you eat it?
I can't eat it. And the curtains, beautiful curtains, and beautiful. Those curtains cost a lot of money, and the other ones, curtains and those things at the trellis, or whatever at the top.
Yeah. So you can just use sheets if you wanted to, couldn't you? Just have a bit of paper clips
or newspapers, perhaps. Well, it did have curtains there, but these are obviously very nice curtains. So if you have a wife that spends too much, that's a problem. And I know a case where I was in the bank where a solicitor, he was earning very good money, and he's had to steal money from a trust account because of the demands of his wife. And of course, he got caught and he was on the run from the police because stealing money from trust accounts is not looked on very favourably in Australia. It's a criminal offence and it's jailable. But that's what happened. His wife wanted this. She said, "You're a solicitor, and therefore as a solicitor, we need a Mercedes-Benz, we need this, we need that, and jewellery," and he got into big trouble.
Was she good in the sack? That's all that matters.
Well, whether she's good or bad, I think that if you get in a big mess like that, it's not worth it.
His life.
I mean, once you get a wife like that, you know, I don't think you'd be able to do anything in the sack. You'd be so worried. Nothing would rise to the occasion, I think. Then there's people, and I'm not criticising people who are religious, but people who decide to give all their money to the church, 10% to the church and more for extra blessings. Well, right here, good luck to you. But some of these churches, they just demand and demand and demand. They say, give everything to God, and God will look after you. And I had a client, he gave 2 houses to the church. He sold the 2 houses and gave them to the church because God will look after you. We all know that, don't we? And then he lost his job. So he went back to the church and said, look, I gave you 2 houses. Can you give me 1 back?
He's told to get fucked.
We all know what the answer was. Sorry, we've spent it. Then you've got a situation, you might have kids. And the kids might be a pain in the rear end. They might not have a job. They just sit home and sponge around. They don't study. They don't want to work. They apply for a job and arrive at the interview 2 hours after the interview time was. They might, unfortunately, get hooked on drugs.
Yeah.
And they're in this rut where you can't ever solve the problem. It's very hard, and it's not your fault. It's I suppose you know, it's partly your fault because in the younger days maybe the Sisters of Mercy might have come to your aid with their strap, but you know, they weren't pushed at the right time or encouraged to do things, or fell in with bad friends that you know, and who were like-minded, just didn't want to do anything. And all of a sudden they are draining you left, right and centre. Because one, they don't work, so they just sit there and eat, and then they might have police problems. You know, they do things wrong and you've got to go around and hire a solicitor for them. And so there's all these things that can drain you, and it's not all your fault, it's just the circumstances. So credit cards, car payments, personal loans, what to do wrong? Well, nothing really. I suppose you need to look at the situation, analyse it, and then address each issue separately and see how you can improve your net income flow so that you've got surplus funds to start the next part of your life, which is to buy a house for yourself, which is very important.
Okay, so what's the advice then? So if you've got yourself in this shit where you've got a lot of credit card debt, car payments, personal loans, you're renting, you don't have much asset, you've got to look at your life and say, am I spending too much? Where is the problem? What's the drain? Where are you hemorrhaging money? It could be that you've got a shitty job, you've lost your job, but you're still living at the higher lifestyle. It could be that you have a wife who just fucking sucks money out of you and you can't say no. You can't say no. You find it hard to say no.
You might be gambling.
You might be gambling.
I think in all those cases you need help. Sometimes help's expensive, but you need help or advice from somebody else. We give advice of that sort. They can write to us and we'll help them. But you need to look at the whole position and look at each individual item and see what you can do. And there's always a way out. If there's a will, there's a way. And if you doesn't matter, you failed today, you know, you've got 20, 30 years ahead of you, you can start again, consolidate and go forward. And I know a person who came to Australia and had a big debt, and then he drove taxis. And he got out of that mess, and then eventually he got a house and moved forward. So there's just because you're in the shit at point A, you know, 5 years later you can be reasonably successful or reasonably strong. Determination. Never give up. Never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up.
And that's what, you know, I remember seeing an interview with a famous film star, and they said, how come you're so famous and how successful? And she said, well, the difference between me and the other fellow is that he got knocked down 50 times and he only got up 49. I got knocked down 50 times and I got up 51 times. And it's hard,
It's hard.
It's
Life's hard.
disillusional.
Life's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. We've cracked it. Credit cards, car payments, personal loans. What did I do wrong? You have to assess where the hemorrhaging money is. Maybe you're earning too little. Maybe you are spending too much. Maybe any number of things there.
Other factors are.
So the key, in a nutshell, the key advice is to assess where the fuck is it going. Are you living too high? Are you got a gambling problem? You'll know. Most people would know this, where the money's going, wouldn't they? They would know where it's going.
Yeah.
And then you've got to address those problems.
And if they don't know and don't care, well, there's no hope for them.
Hope.
You
No
just,
hope.
You just keep sinking down to the bottom of the well.
They're sinking down. They can declare bankruptcy and walk away and start again.
Go down to sea and maybe
That's
jump off the
the
bridge.
Well, they just declare bankruptcy and start again. You know.
How do you start? Where? What?
Sorry.
Yeah, once you're bankrupt, you got nothing.
Yes.
You got no house, no money.
No, that's correct.
You can have a cheap car. You can have some tools of trade.
Yes.
You can have a couple of hundred in the bank.
That's
You've got to pay rent, and that's it.
That's it.
You know,
That's
how
your
do you-
life. That's
so,
the life.
So how do you build up from that?
Well,
Pretty hard.
it is pretty hard. Well, these fuckers shouldn't have been going around fucking spending like drunken sailors then, should they?
No.
This is what fucking happens, isn't it?
That's yeah.
If you spend money like that, you're going to end up in the shit. Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Sing it off.
What?